From the early days of weird and somewhat terrifying designs to today's sleek Batman-esque versions, NBA protective masks have come a long way. This is the evolution of face masks, marked by the greatest mask performances in NBA history. In 2023, protective masks are works of art, made from carbon fiber, molded with 3D printers, and shaped specifically to fit the player's face. What Jaylen Brown wore last season is a rocket ship compared to the ugly and heavy headgear players wore 60 years ago. I mean, just look at the monstrosity that Wilt Chamberlain had to wear in late 1964. A broken nose and several lost teeth forced Wilt to cover his face during games. But the mask didn't bother him. Wilt actually played better. Chamberlain averaged 35 points and 22 rebounds that season. But over the month and a half that he played with the mask, Wilt's numbers rose to 40 points and 23 rebounds per game. The only number that might have suffered was that 20,000 number Wilt liked to brag about. But Wilt's mask wasn't actually that terrible, at least not if you compare it to some of his peers, like Hall of Famer Dolph Schayes. The one that Oscar Robertson wore was even worse. The man looked like a weird robot from a sci-fi movie. And when Jerry West broke his nose, he didn't even wear a mask, just a bunch of tape bandaged together. In the 70s, you'd expect the masks to become more sophisticated, but you'd be wrong. This is Curtis Perry in 1976, wearing a mask that he probably borrowed from a hockey goalie. The best NBA player in the 70s didn't exactly wear a mask, but unlike the rest of the guys on this list, Kareem needed to protect his eyes. Due to so many eye pokes by opponents, Kareem's cornea got damaged, and he needed goggles to avoid going blind. And they appeared to be effective. But Kareem's early 70s goggles looked more suited to scuba diving than for basketball. In the 80s, the situation didn't improve, and if a player needed to wear a mask, he was probably laughed at by his teammates. I mean, just look at Calvin Murphy, whose mask looked more like a helmet. And Harold Presley in 1988, looking like he mistakenly put a jockstrap on his face. However, just 3 years later, NBA masks finally had their first major breakthrough. In 1991, after one of his many on-court brawls, fighter and part-time NBA player Bill Laimbeer broke his cheekbone. It was the first time a clear plastic was used for a mask to allow the player a much better field of vision. All the clear masks then started to get called the Laimbeer mask, and many players throughout the 90s used different iterations of the Laimbeer. But there were still some players who wanted something more traditional, maybe because they hated Laimbeer and didn't want to be associated with him in any way. In 1992, Charles Barkley wore this preposterous thing, and Will Perdue looked like an actor from Eyes Wide Shut. Still, the worst mask of the 90s was strapped to the face of AC Green, whose mask looked like it had bandages. But it was the Spurs' Brandon Williams who unknowingly provided a glimpse into the future with the mask he wore in 1999, donning this black Batman-like mask before it was cool. However, the clear masks still were the most common, largely because of the visibility they provided. Just ask Zydrunas Ilgauskas, who looked like the second coming of Hannibal Lecter. But while most players hated the mask and were only wearing them for a short period of time, there was one player whose face became synonymous with the mask. Others merely adopted the mask, but he was born into it, molded by it. No, we're not talking about Bane, but Richard Hamilton of the Detroit Pistons. Rip first broke his nose in 2002, and then twice in the 03-04 season. The doctors advised him to wear the mask for the rest of his career to avoid nasal reconstructive surgery. So, Hamilton started wearing the mask on a nightly basis, calling it his Superman cape, and it's hard to argue with him. In the regular season before the mask, Rip averaged 17.5 points per game. In the playoffs with the mask, Rip's numbers improved to a team-leading 21.5 points per game, helping Detroit to win the 2004 NBA Finals over the Lakers. That year, a young LeBron James got elbowed in the face by Dikembe Mutombo, who broke LeBron's cheekbone just one day before his 20th birthday. We're sure that he had had better birthday presents in his life, but at least LeBron's clear mask didn't look that bad. The King wore the face mask for the next 16 games, averaging 26 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists per game. During the stretch, he also became the youngest player in NBA history to record a triple-double. Other notable stars of that era who wore clear masks include Joe Johnson, Tracy McGrady, Andrew Bogut, and Chris Paul. In the 2012 All-Star Game, D-Wade broke Kobe's nose and gave him a concussion, and Bryant loved it. Kobe loved the competition and aggressiveness more than anything, and despite Wade feeling sorry for hurting him during a meaningless game, Kobe was thankful for another dose of motivation.
I called him and I said, "Yo, Kobe." He was like, "Bro, I love it."
Bryant first started playing with a clear mask, scoring 31 points in his first game and 38 in the second. The third game with the mask was against the Heat, LeBron and D-Wade. Revenge is a dish best served cold. and Kobe was cold as ice. Bryant led his team to victory by scoring 33 points and hitting over 60% of shots, many of which were made right in Wade's face. However, Bryant found the clear mask to be uncomfortable, claiming it fogged up and got way too hot. To fix these issues, he changed his mask, opting for a black one. Considering his nickname was the Black Mamba, it made sense. But despite looking like Zorro, the black mask didn't have the same magic, and Kobe only shot 1 for 6 in the first half before he took it off. He then called up Rip Hamilton's orthotist to make him a mask, trusting that this man was the best in the business, and he made the right decision. He finally had the proper vision and comfort, but most importantly, the Lakers were winning. In the 11 total games with the mask, they won 8 of them, with Kobe averaging 29.5 points per game. Despite Kobe playing only one half with a black mask, the masked Mamba soon got posted all over the internet and gained a cult following. Soon, other players wanted black masks too. In December of 2012, Kyrie Irving drove to the basket and hit the floor, breaking his jaw. In his first game with a black mask, Kyrie scored 41 points on 60% shooting, which earned him a new nickname, the Phantom of the Garden. However, the NBA wanted players to wear clear masks, and the actual reason why Kyrie played with a black one was because the clear material needed 18 hours to dry after being fitted. Irving then used the clear mask for 18 more games and had some crazy highlights, averaging 25 points per game on near 50-40-90 shooting splits. When Serge Ibaka broke LeBron's nose in 2014, King James donned the first carbon fiber mask in NBA history. Without a doubt, LeBron's mask was the coolest protective gear we've ever seen up to that point. But just like with Kyrie Irving, the NBA asked LeBron to switch to a clear one. James protested because he really liked the black mask due to the lightness and stiffness of carbon fiber, and probably because he wanted to look like the Dark Knight. However, even the King had to yield and listen to the league. Still, even with the clear mask, LeBron dominated. In his third game of the mask versus Charlotte, LeBron scored a career-high 61 points on 8 for 10 shooting from 3, another career high. But LeBron wasn't the only one who got his career high with a mask. In his first game with a mask, he exploded for a career-high 49 points, 16 rebounds, and 10 assists for his 4th consecutive triple-double, helping OKC to defeat the 76ers. Despite the triple-double, Russ wasn't too pleased with the mask. It was weird. I had to keep wiping it. It was a big process of trying to keep everything from fogging up. But that's not going to stop me. And it didn't. In the 16 games he played with a mask, Westbrook averaged 30 points, 9 rebounds, and 10 assists, proving once again that pissed-off Russ is the best version of Russ. Some 3 years later, another player suffered a fracture of the orbital bone, and for his protection, some smart people developed the most high-tech mask in sports history. The mask was also black, and somehow the league didn't make any protests. The player wearing the mask was Joel Embiid, who missed 10 straight games because of his injury, including 2 playoff games. During this time, 20 masks were made for him, with only 2 properly fitting his face. But what made this gear unique was its material. The mask was made from carbon and polycarbonate, with goggles built into them. It was incredibly light, with a cover over the eyes to protect Embiid's orbital bone. Despite Joel's displeasure with the mask and him throwing it on the floor during the series, he averaged 19 points and 10 rebounds in the first 3 playoff games of his career, and the Sixers won all 3. In the next round, Embiid adjusted to the mask, averaging 23 points and 14 boards. Unfortunately for him, Philadelphia lost this series in 5 games. But this wouldn't be the last time we saw a masked Embiid. In Game 6 of the 2022 first round, Siakam elbowed Embiid, which resulted in another orbital fracture. Joel missed the next 2 games against Miami, and when he returned, he was wearing the high-tech black mask again. In Game 5, Joel got hit across the face and fell to the floor in pain, proving that masks can only do so much. In 4 masked games, he averaged 20 and 10, but the Sixers once again lost in the second round. But if there was somebody who really hated the mask, it was Devin Booker. Book broke his nose during the 2021 conference finals against the Clippers. However, after just 2 games, Booker ditched the mask because of discomfort, and he actually played better without it, and the Suns made the finals. And last, but not least, we have Jaylen Brown, who wore the black mask in the second half of the 2023 season. Brown got injured after his teammate Jason Tatum inadvertently elbowed him in the face, ending in a fracture. Since the injury, Brown wore the mask in 19 games in the regular season, averaging 27 points on 50% shooting, which is slightly better than his unmasked games, where he averaged 26 on 48% shooting. And even though he could have stopped wearing the mask after 6 weeks, Jalen kept it on for his mother. Mom didn't want him to risk re-injuring his face, so Jalen had no choice but to listen.
I'm gonna take it day by day. I think my mom wants me to keep wearing it, so we'll see. But for now, it's here to stay.
However, after a bad game in the first round of the playoffs, Brown decided to ditch the mask for Game 4 against the Hawks. But then he changed his mind and wore it again for Game 5, where he dropped 35 points on 65% shooting. And in the closeout game, Brown had 32 points on 52% shooting. Jalen kept the mask for the entire second-round series against the Sixers, until he took it off for good in Game 2 of the Eastern Finals. But since the Celtics lost that series and his masked numbers looked good, maybe Brown jinxed himself by taking off the mask. So, despite all the fogging and discomfort, the conclusion is that great players are gonna be great no matter what. Wilt was putting up 40 with an ancient mask. LeBron and Russ scored career highs, and Kobe somehow liked the pain of a broken nose, using it to fuel his Mamba mentality. So, here's to more inadvertent elbows to the face, more wild-looking masks.